Mm. So then, chemical safety. Huh? So the chemical safety to minimize the accidents, incidents because of the chemicals, and how to handle, how to store, and how to dispose the chemicals. The main thing is reduce the risk and saving the human life and the environment. So that is the basic thing in the chemical safety. So the handling of chemicals, PPEs, ventilation, the procedures for the MSDs, and avoid consuming the chemicals, and in case of accidental usage of or accidental spillage to the body, you can use emergency wash stations and then emergency eye care, eye wash station, and in case of any chemical misuse, you can use the emergency medical care for the normally you can use it for the first aids, medical care for the chemicals. So handling of chemicals. Then storing of chemicals, you can have the hazardous chemicals, you have some list. In case of hazardous chemicals, you can use the MSDs, material safety data sheet, and based on that you can having the emergency procedures and how to store, how to protect the environment, how to protect the people. These all the instructions are there in the MSDs. You can get it from the MSDs. So normally the storing of chemicals is very important when the chemicals are hazardous chemicals stored in a secure areas. The fire extinguishers first, then fire alarm system must be there, fire systems must be there when the hazardous chemicals are stored. Then MSD instructions are also followed, and then there should be a risk assessments must be done. In the risk assessments, you can keep all the things in that hazardous material storing areas. So this chemical safety, handling of chemicals one, then storing of chemicals second part, then emergency preparedness and response. In case of chemicals are spilled anywhere in the organization or any storing areas, you have to take special attention and you have to take immediate action against the emergency. Preparedness and response is very important. When spilled, immediately needs to be cleaned. In case of chemical spilled, you have to take immediate eye wash, and you can use the shower station, emergency shower station, you can use it. Then you must have a spill plan, and also you must have a proper risk assessments for the emergency preparedness and response in case of chemicals, and disposing of the chemicals. So disposing the chemicals means you cannot simply dispose the chemicals in the open drain. So when you are disposing the chemicals in the open drain, it will make the biggest offense to the environment and the human life. So you have to store separately whatever chemical waste are storing there in your organization, and then store it, and then you can you can dispose separately, monthly or daily. How much quantity you have a chemical water is there, you can treat. In case of large quantity, the companies are having the ETP or CTP, then they treat and discharge it accordingly. Otherwise, they send it to the contractor, third parties, and dispose as per the environmental rules and regulations. So that is another way of disposing. So there should be a proper guidelines for the disposing the chemicals. So overall, the MSD is the matter. When each chemicals having the material safety data sheet. In the material safety data sheet itself, the chemical, how to handle, how to store, how to dispose, these instructions all are placed there in that MSDs. So based on the MSDs, you can work it out the overall chemical safety. So in this chemical safety, we discussed what is chemical safety means. It's handling, storing, and disposing, and minimizing the risk to the human life and saving the environment. That is the main proactive step and the main aim for the chemical safety. So 3 types: handling of chemicals, it's how much PPEs you are adding to the chemical safety. Then ventilation procedures, avoid consuming the chemicals because it's too dangerous. When you are consuming the chemicals, it will make, when inhaling or consuming the chemical, it will make your body, in a state of risk. So it's better to have proper ventilation, and if it's inhaled, accidentally inhaled or consumed, you have to take immediate emergency action and medical care. And there should be an emergency wash station and the emergency eye care, eye station, and first aid must be there. So these are the handling of chemicals. Storing that, as I said, there should be a proper ventilation area, and then first aid kits must be there, and also as per MSD you can store it. And then when storing the hazardous chemical, you have to take lot of security and safety procedures. And when hazardous chemical you are storing, based on the MSD you have to store the proper ventilation, first aid, fire fighting system must be there, and the hazardous chemicals, whether flammable or inflammable, based on that you take a proper location storing the chemicals. Then emergency preparedness for the chemicals means you have to take the proper emergency equipment, how to use the emergency equipment, like you can say respirators. When the chemicals you are using, you have to use the respirators, and the various chemical equipments are there, ventilators, respirators, and gloves, and mask, and then safety boot, gloves. So you must be trained for this emergency equipment, like eye wash station, and then shower station, emergency shower station. So these are the things you must have in an area where the chemicals are used. And you must have a spillage. If you accidentally spilled in the ground, or spilled in the lab, or spilled in the human, what will be the plan? So you must have a plan for the spills. And then whatever things you must have a think about, there should not be a risk, any risk around it. So for that you must have a proper risk assessments for the storing the chemicals. In that risk assessments, there should be controls are there. All the controls must be placed for the lab or any chemical working areas. Then finally dispose. As per the standard procedures, you should not dispose the chemicals in an open drain or in a municipality or corporation drains. You have to store the chemicals as per the norms, as per the environmental rules and regulations. Then you can store chemicals separately, chemical waste separately. If it's a solid means or liquid means, there should be a proper package and proper tank for that liquid and solid. Then for solid or liquid, you can send it to the third party, minimum quantity. If the high quantity, high volume of quantity, you can send it, you can treat yourself through the effluent treatment plant or chemical treatment plant. After the treating that one, you can send it to the open drain. Treatment, so there should be a standards are there. After meeting the standard, you can drain the wastewater. Otherwise, you cannot simply drain the chemical into the drain. So these are the things normally you have to follow for the chemical safety. So this is what the chemical, simple brief about the chemical safety. When you have a deep, then you can go deep and learn and update from any kind of net resources, but here the simple and basic thinking about the chemical safety. If you have anything, just comment me whatever doubt you have, I can reply for that. Thank you very much for joining the live session. Thank you.